Rural Councils Victoria is the group of 38 rural councils in the state of Victoria, Australia. Rural councils are responsible for 79% of Victoria's land area and more than 250,000 Victorians. RCV is funded through memberships with the 38 rural councils and Regional Development Victoria to deliver the Networked Rural Councils program.
The main aim of rural councils is to advocate with governments, education programs, and to stimulate the economy of our rural towns so that we do have a future in retaining our young people in particular with jobs for the future.
All 38 councils enjoy different environments, geography, industries and climate. Our populations live in very small through to large towns, on farms or lifestyle blocks.
The area of Loddon Shire. It's a municipality in northern Victoria, just on the outskirts of Bendigo, on the western side of Bendigo. Agriculture is the main game economically in our part of the world. Dryland farming, mixed farming and irrigated agriculture.
I live in the Colac Otway Ranges and the Colac Otway Shire. Mostly it's timber production, agricultural land, which we have one of the highest productions of dairy.
I live in the Bull Oak Shire and we've got 5 small towns and 5 even smaller towns. It's a grain-growing area. We've got some fantastic farmers there.
I represent Gippsland, 6 councils that make up the area. We're the powerhouse of Victoria, of course, a very significant area in rural Victoria for jobs and job creation.
Northern Grampian Shire is around about 5,000 square kilometres in the middle of Western Victoria. We're a small rural shire. We have around about 12,500 people and 3 relatively major towns.
I'm the CEO at South Gippsland Shire Council, where we have a resident population of about 27,000 people and cover an area of about 3,300 square kilometres.
Yes, Towong Shire's in the northeast of Victoria, as far north as you can go. It's the source of the Murray River and the Mitter River, and it's a very large water storage area.
East Gippsland is a very large rural shire in Victoria. Its area is nearly 10% of the state.
One of the important roles in RCV is just focusing on those things that are particular to rural municipalities.
It gives us good representation. We're part of the rural councils. We have a good voice and we're able to advocate on behalf of all our area.
We're not the same as city and metropolitan councils, and not all rural councils are the same either.
Getting a message to people in the city is very important, and we have to make sure we don't just talk amongst each other, that we do project our needs and our thoughts and our interests.
Well, I think the important issue in advocacy for rural councils is having a collective voice.
So by having a cohesive group working for rural councils and having the input from rural councils, we have better advocacy powers.
We understand firsthand the strengths of our communities as well as the many challenges they face.
While we celebrate the diversity of the landscapes, industries, climate and people, rural councils face some common challenges.
We have a big challenge trying to provide infrastructure, not only for our local residents, but also for all those people from Melbourne who want to get away and have a day in the country or a week in the country.
Rural councils are challenged with great asset registers, with lots of roads and land and buildings to manage, but only have relatively smaller properties to rate against to get our income.
Like a lot of small councils, the influx of visitors puts a lot of pressure on the local infrastructure. So whilst we've got 30,000 people here for most of the year, it's very hard to cater for all those people that come down for those big events.
These common challenges and opportunities are the things that Rural Councils Victoria focuses on.
One of the really great things about working with RCV is the evidence and the research that they gather and then able to translate that into practical applications for rural councils that are very specific to our needs.
The research work, particularly around rural issues, they've done some good work in respect of the sustainability of small rural councils and also some work around helping capacity with councillors.
We were involved in the project where we had an open day and we brought some people around in a bus to have a look at our town.
There are some terrific initiatives taking place in rural councils across the state. Through Rural Councils Victoria, we have the opportunity to share these so that we can learn from each other and improve our organisations.
Recently we were a part of the program that they offered for strategic planning risk management, where we look at enforcement versus compliance type work. So we're able to get that off the shelf and get straight into it, and it was a great tool.
So we've been pretty fortunate to have a summit as well, where all the councils came into our town of Birchip and celebrated for a couple of days, and then took on a lot of information which was shared across all the councils for their own benefit.
The regional summit, and that is now an annual event.
We were able to sample the beautiful produce of our area, and hopefully that might actually sow the seed for them to come back, or to perhaps bring their families back, or tell their friends about this amazing place.
In response to the priorities of rural councils, RCV has developed a range of resources and tools.
Over the last couple of years, we've managed 2 projects for Rural Councils Victoria. The first one was Rural Retail Economics. That involved commissioning some research across all of the local government areas that covers Rural Councils Victoria, looking at everything from retail spend to average wages in the area. The second project we worked on was Creative Industries Supporting Intelligent Communities, which was essentially looking at the creative industry sector in Victoria.
We developed an online rural migration toolkit for Rural Councils Victoria. It takes data from the ABS and other organisations and compiles it and analyses it and presents it via a web-based interface that anyone out in rural Victoria can access. The idea is that you use this tool to sift through this complicated data and work out how you're going when compared with other councils that are like yourself. How you're going in terms of attracting new residents and new businesses and new workers to your region.
Our toolkit is introducing some best practices in a range of areas, including fleet management, procurement and collaborative governance. Use of this toolkit by a council on its own, or preferably by a group of councils, will enable all of these things to be improved within the operational environment of the council. But our real aim is to enable councils to collaborate on planned works, and this will be of great benefit to the collective as well as the individual council.
RCV is leading rural council sector development and advocating for rural council priorities with a range of stakeholders.
There's a great deal of work to be done in understanding what the collective view of each municipality in rural Victoria is, and then articulating that into a good story that's easily then conveyed to government.
Focusing on financial sustainability for small councils is very important, but I think also Rural Councils Board needs to also focus on making sure that we communicate well with our neighbours in the city, because they also have issues that we need to understand.
RCV as a group of 38 rural councils can be a strong voice for our councils. We can lobby for better funding to government, or give them great suggestions on how they can possibly help us.
Any of the projects that RCV are involved in around attracting people or encouraging people to perhaps think about moving to rural Victoria.
For the future, we need to continue the role with government. We need to continue and have the support of the 38 rural councils, because unless there's full unity, the program will not work. But I just see a huge future for Rural Councils Victoria, but we must work together.
The work of Rural Councils Victoria is important first and foremost to those 38 councils who comprise the organisation, but then equally to the Victorian Coalition Government, because we understand that we are the sum of the parts. We need all our councils in Victoria contributing to the future of our great state.
RCV's strength is its members and our passion for improving the lives of rural Victorians. Rural Councils Victoria.